May our time together be of benefit to all people, all beings, and all life forms. Let us start with a mindful pause. Calmly feel the air as it moves in and out of the body. If thoughts arise, let them arise, but pay them no attention. Let all thoughts and worries about today, the past week, and the days ahead fall away into the background of your awareness. Lovingly be here now, peacefully, calmly, with a kind interest in the sensations of breathing. Gently now reflect on how this course has served and benefited you so far. And gently reflect on how it's benefited those you know, those you don't know, and all beings and all life. As you participate, it's always helpful to remember your loving intentions for being here. Yes, I'm happy the bell finally works. We are on lands that have been cared for by Indigenous people for generations. I am on Dakota land. We offer our goodwill and thanks to all Indigenous people, past and present, and we stand in solidarity with you to protect and honor your inherent dignity, culture, treaties, and lands. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to Class 7 of the Mindfulness Fundamentals course. In this class, we're going to start with a brief check-in to see how your practice is going. Then we're going to do a bonfire of compassion meditation, which I hope you will find enlightening. And then I will share a talk with you called Relating Skillfully to Our Emotions, an introduction to clinging and aversion. And I hope that this talk will help guide you as you learn to stop being a servant to your emotions and start to learn how to be the master of your emotions. Cool, cool. So check in is where we're at next, and I'm going to cut and paste my what I'm looking for you into the chat. And I specifically want to know how your well, this is odd. Okay, here we go. I specifically want to know how your practice with intention setting is going. Like, have you been able to sort of look at what your intentions are and see how they are impacting you? Oh, what in the world? Ah, I figured it out. Sorry, everyone. Technology is escaping me. So in your one or two sentences, just explain how your intention setting has been going. Like, because last week we talked about making sure the intentions for which we do things is done from a place of love and service. And if you've had any luck with that, just let me know. And this is only the course participants. Everyone else, all the veteran meditators, just feel free to share what you're thankful for. And of course, we're asking for the usual numbers: how many days meditated, how many days you did the intention setting, how many times you investigated, and then roughly the number of times you gave thanks. Yes, time spent in nature, always something to be grateful for. Gratitude for family and friends. All right, so Julie, 6, 4, 3, and 10 to 15. Wonderful, excellent numbers. Congratulations. And I really like the practice of intention setting, but I wonder if I might need refreshers throughout the day. It seems like it only stays front of my mind for a short while. And certainly that's the challenge when we start anything. So I remember for you, you said visuals were really helpful, like with your gratitude practice. So you might want to put up a little slogan, how is this an act of love? Something like a question like that would remind you to, like, oh yeah, like what are my intentions right now and how am I showing up? Good. All right, we've got some other gratitudes coming in. Gratitude for good health, great family and friends. And Squirrel is thankful for a great ski day. And also, Kelly is thankful for Mission Outpost, which is a place where she volunteers to help serve the needy. And here we've got Scott's 772, 7 to 11. Yay! Excellent numbers again. Intention setting has been helpful to me. I find myself getting angry or upset, and I use the intentions to remind myself of how I want my day to go, my mindset to be. Okay, cool. So you're talking, yep, you're the intention setting in the morning. Good. Well, wonderful. I'm loving this. I'm loving it. I really do believe that the more you put into this course, the more you're going to get out of it. And I hope that those of you who are putting a lot into this are starting to see that. Any questions or comments about your practice?
I think one question that's coming up for me, and this might be something you'd rather address at a different time, which is fine too. But you've talked a lot about unskillful, behaviors and thoughts. And I wonder, how can I identify if a behavior is unskillful or not?
Sure. Yeah. So the optional reading for this last week was a document that sort of universalized the Ten Commandments. And that's a good one for starting to look and identify unskillful behavior. I mean, it really comes down to, am I harming other life forms? And uh, or yourself included. But of course that's sticky and thorny, and it requires a lot. So that's why we did the article on that.
Yeah. And I think maybe I'm stuck in more of like some gray area behaviors of like watching TV. Like, is this an unskillful behavior? Or is
Oh,
it like, like things like that, I think is maybe where I'm struggling.
okay. That's good. Yeah, there are a lot of questions like that are sort of skillful in moderation, skillful in balance, and then they tip and they start to be harmful because they prevent you from actually thriving and doing what you want in life. Um, so a lot of that's a judgment call, and you don't beat yourself up. Don't be too concerned. I feel like the harmful part of watching TV is like, what kind of program are you watching? Is it a lot of violence? Is everything encouraging your desire and your wants and your greed for this, that, and the other? Or is it something like, you know, the movie Gandhi, or an autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr., or, um, you know, a talk that Peace Pilgrim gave that was recorded, you know? So it really depends on the content. And in those areas, just listen to your inner wisdom. And you can always ask your inner wisdom, like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, ask it before you go to bed, and then see what it says to you in the morning, or go on a walk in nature and just see what sort of inspiration and wisdom arises for you. Um, we don't want to get too tight around being like uber skillful. We just want to be clear, like, we don't want to harm people. We don't want to harm animals. We don't want to harm the environment that all of our lives depend on. And for the other stuff, it's more of a nuanced dance. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah, that's really helpful. I think maybe kind of the loosening up that you're suggesting, of just like looking more big picture, and being open to some nuance and degree. I think that's really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Cool. Ah, wonderful. Well, good job, everyone. And let's get straight into our meditation for tonight. Tonight's meditation is based on one that I heard from a Buddhist teacher named Pascal Alclair. I may be butchering his name, but much thanks to him. This meditation is called the Bonfire of Compassion. The purpose of it is to relate more non-judgmentally and compassionately towards all that is difficult in our life. So when there's difficulty in our life, we really want to bring curiosity and interest and courage and lots of love and compassion to it. And this meditation is an example of how to do that. Okay, so let's get prepared for the meditation. If you want to, please review your flashback halting protocol or your 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise and keep those handy. That would be great. And of course, always remember, if feelings or memories start to arise that are too destabilizing for you to hold with compassionate mindfulness, then stop meditating, open your eyes, remind yourself you're in a safe place, get up and do whatever you need to do to feel safe and in control. All right, so get into a comfortable position that will help you stay awake. If it seems wise, feel free to close your eyes so you can direct your attention inward. If you're at risk for falling asleep, then you may keep your eyes open and gaze in an unfocused manner at something pleasant that doesn't stimulate thought. And with that, we will get started. Kindly anchor your awareness on your heart space or on any pleasant feelings that arise. Gently invite the heart to be warm, open, and receptive. Now silently repeat these loving intentions and try to feel the meaning behind the words. May this practice be done for the benefit and welfare of all life everywhere. May all life everywhere be free from suffering. May all life everywhere be safe and protected. May all life everywhere be peaceful and happy. May all life everywhere be healthy and strong. Gently position yourself in a stable, comfortable, relaxed manner. If able to do so, breathe through the nose deep into the belly. Allow your breathing to be slow, calm, quiet, and effortless. Allow these slow, deep belly breaths to calm and quiet both the mind and body. With each inhale, feel the life and energy in the body. With each exhale, relax and calm the body. Lovingly feel and connect with the aliveness in the body. Kindly feel the aliveness and energy in the touching, the tingling, the pulsing, and the flow. Gently notice how sensitive the body is. Kindly notice how dynamic the body is. Lovingly feel how the body feels and notice what the body feels. With great kindness, allow whatever arises to simply be as it is. It's like this now. May I allow it to be like this right now? Gently notice the awareness that is aware of bodily sensations. Compassionately notice how awareness notice things calmly, objectively, and directly as they are. Peacefully notice how awareness is free of any aversion. Awareness is always ready to make contact with what it's aware of. With great kindness, gently anchor your mindful awareness on the heart area, the space in and around where your heart resides. Feel what you feel in the heart space. You may feel the expansion and contraction of the breath, the warmth of the heart, a peaceful spaciousness. Simply notice whatever sensations arise in the heart space. During this meditation, let go of the need to do, achieve, or accomplish anything, including the desire to do this meditation correctly. With patience and peace, allow everything to be as it is. Allow everything to unfold as it unfolds. If any emotions arise during this meditation, mindfully and gently allow them to arise and pass away without acting them out or trying to interfere with them. As always, follow your inner wisdom. Follow those instructions that seem wise and helpful, and ignore those that don't. In this meditation, we are going to use our imagination to allow all of the energy within us to move. We are going to take what is difficult in our lives and transform it into compassion, care, love, and well-being. Gently imagine in your heart a little fire, and this is a special fire. It's the fire of compassion. This fire is beautiful, comforting, and always perfectly warm. No matter how big or small it becomes, it cannot burn you. This beautiful fire of compassion also embodies all of the nurturing qualities of compassion: love, kindness, gentleness, softness, peacefulness, caring, friendliness, joy. This fire of compassion also embodies all of the protective qualities of compassion: courage, daring, creativity, strength, clarity, firmness, power, action. With each in-breath, you gently fuel and nourish the fire with oxygen. With each out-breath, you send the warmth and protection of compassion to others. Besides oxygen, another fuel for this fire includes any troubles, worries, sorrows, or difficulties that you have. With each in-breath, gently put a sorrow onto the fire and feel your sorrow transform into warmth, light, and compassion. Test if this is true for you. Bring a little worry of yours and place it into the fire. Notice how the worry is now embraced by the fire of compassion and becomes the energy of care and benevolence. During any in-breath, fuel and nourish this fire with a difficult memory or a worry about the future, or with a present pain, be it physical or emotional. During the out-breath, feel how your concern is completely transformed into love and care, so that your heart and mind remain open, stable, calm, and balanced. There is no need to fear anything difficult or challenging. Just place it in the fire where it will be transformed into love, care, courage, and creativity. Do you have any health issues? Gently place them into the fire. Do you have anything you stress about? Gently place it into the fire. All the troubles, the difficulties, the confusion, in the fire they go, creating clarity, care, courage, and support. Continue to feed your sorrows to the fire. If the sorrows of friends weigh heavily on you, you can also try adding their pain and difficulties into the fire as well. Watch how even their suffering in the fire generates tenderness, compassion, courage, and love. Every difficulty we place in the fire is completely transformed, leaving nothing left. Our inner fire of compassion completely transforms our worries and the worries of others into care and compassion. If it feels safe and comfortable to you, allow the purifying fire of compassion to grow bigger and bigger until all of you is inside the fire. If at any point this causes you to lose the balance in your mind, then feel the fresh air on your hands or open your eyes. Otherwise, rest inside the fire with its perfect warmth, care, and protection. Allow this bonfire of compassion to take in the difficult and transform them completely into warmth, light, and love. Compassionately offer the pain and suffering of those people and beings who you don't even know into the fire. Bring to mind images maybe that you've seen on the nightly news or that have arisen from reading news articles, and offer these images to the great bonfire of compassion. All the frustration, the heartache, and the challenges, into the fire they go, creating wisdom, compassion, strength, and kindness. Gently notice the infinite capacity of the heart to transform all difficulties into great care. The heart's fire can hold and be with the suffering of the world without caving to fear, anger, despair, or overwhelm. However, if these emotions do arise for you, then offer them to the sacred fire of compassion as well. All difficulties, all illnesses, all pains, all tensions, even old resentments can be offered to this purifying fire. Don't hold anything back. Gently offer them all. Let them all be transformed. Kindly feel the fire of compassion throughout your body. Feel the warmth, tenderness, peace, friendliness, strength, spaciousness, courage, power. This is what compassion feels like. We have spent this meditation becoming intimate with what is difficult and challenging. Now, to know and experience the malleable and fluid nature of the heart and mind, let's become intimate with all that is good, skillful, wonderful, and beautiful. Keeping your awareness grounded in the sensations you feel in the heart space, bring to mind all that you are thankful for. Gently feel how gratitude feels in the body as you continue giving thanks. Kindly now set a firm intention to carry any mindfulness and love from this meditation into your daily life. As we prepare to share the merits of our practice, gently move your awareness to anchor on your heart space or on any pleasant feelings you feel in the heart space. Doing this meditation with loving intentions has gained us many benefits. Out of generosity and love, we energetically share these benefits with all beings. If you feel any pleasant feelings, invite them to radiate out from your heart in all directions to benefit all life everywhere. You may visualize this love as white, golden, or colored light, or as a felt sense of energy. If you don't feel any pleasant feelings, then continue to feel your heart space and repeat these loving wishes silently to all life while trying to feel the meaning behind the words. We share any merits gained from this practice with all beings and all life everywhere. May all life everywhere be free from suffering and misery. May all life everywhere abide in a deep and lasting peace. May all life everywhere know the highest forms of happiness and be at ease. May all life everywhere know their deepest essence to be joy, peace, compassion, and unconditional, boundless love. May all life everywhere be fully and permanently liberated. All right, gently rouse the body by stretching the arms and limbs, maybe doing some gentle spinal twists. And then once the body is roused, feel free to take a short movement break. And when you're ready, send a word or phrase to describe how that meditation went for you. All right, we got peaceful. Beautiful.
There. Did you send it? Send it?
Imaginative. Challenging. Squirrel or Kelly, what was challenging? Oh, turn your mute off.
Putting things into the fire.
You mean just like doing the imagining that happening?
Yes, putting all the thoughts of evil and stuff into the fire and coming out with happiness stuff.
So just the whole aspect of it was pretty challenging for you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's similar to what Scott said. He said slightly challenging. I got in my head a bit and kept wondering if I was doing it right. Yeah, so this is a little bit more challenging of a meditation. It did involve imagination, and it's not going to be for everyone. As always, you just do your best, and the point of it is basically metaphorical, which is the love in our heart is big enough to hold the suffering of the world. And so we don't need to fear the suffering in the world. We don't need to avoid it. We can look at it. We can face it. We can pull from what's difficult and awful in the world and use it for good. And those are some of the basic themes of the meditation. Some people find this meditation to be one of their favorites. Other people find it to be too heady for them to get into. So just note how it landed for you, and use that going forward as you, like at the end of this course, when you get to choose your own adventure in meditation. Just, yeah, have that info at hand. All right. Well, we will, let's see what's next on the agenda. I believe it's the talk. Okay. Yep. Do your emotions often dictate your behavior? Are you imprisoned by fears, loneliness, depression, or hopelessness? Or maybe you feel out of control because of anger, frustration, confusion, or addictions. In this talk, we're going to answer the following questions. How do we relate skillfully to our emotions? And instead of having our emotions master us, how do we become the masters of our emotions? This talk is part of a 3-part talk on the falsehoods of craving and aversion. In this talk, we will define aversion and craving, investigate our emotions, and learn how to relate skillfully to our emotions. And Julie, this talk is dedicated to you because of your question last week. All right, let's start by defining aversion and craving. At its most basic, aversion is a mental or emotional attitude of resistance to a form or a situation. Mentally, it shows up as the thought, I hate this, I don't want to do this, I should know better, he should know better, drop dead, and so on. Emotionally, aversion may show up as fear, anxiety, dread, dislike, anger, and hatred. Aversion can be very strong and obvious, as well as extremely subtle and hard to see. Regardless of its intensity, the root source of all aversion is hatred, wanting for something to not exist, to suffer, or to come to harm. Aversion is obviously an umbrella term and includes the falsehoods of judgment, disqualifying the positive, should statements, blaming, complaining, hatred, cruelty, apathy, denial, doubt, and so on. Where aversion resists the present moment, craving, on the other hand, mentally or emotionally wants something better. Mentally, craving is an attitude that says, I want this, I need this, I have to have that. Emotionally, craving shows up as lust, hunger, thirst, greed, wanting, and needing. The root source of all craving is greed, wanting better and more, often regardless of the spiritual and ethical costs. Types of craving include the delusions of greed, envy, jealousy, hedonism, grief, confusion delusion, and lust, and so on. Craving can also be called wanting, clinging, grasping, attachment, greed, or lusting. And I use these terms pretty interchangeably, so just be aware of that. Now, as an example of clinging and aversion, I am going to demonstrate how to accidentally spill a cup of orange juice. In two ways. The first way is with a lot of craving and aversion. Now, we're going to be pretending and imagining here there's actually no orange juice in the cup. And for your benefit, I'm going to vocalize my thoughts and act out my emotions. All right, so let's pretend I just spent a minute wiping down this pretend table. This is much harder to do virtually, guys. It's so much easier when there's an actual table and things. But we're just going to do our best, okay? So I spent a minute wiping down this table, and then I accidentally spill the juice. Ah! Ah! I just wiped down this table. I hate it when this table is dirty. It was clean and now it's sticky and gross again. I don't want to clean it up again. I don't have time for this. And who was it who put this juice on my table? Don't you know I was just cleaning this table? Why does everybody want to sabotage my life? Oh, but I did knock it over. I'm so clumsy. I'm so incompetent and worthless. I hate my life. I am so an idiot. Dumb, 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 stupid, stupid. I can't do this. How am I supposed to do this when I feel so worthless and everybody wants me to fail? End scene. And I am ready for my Oscar. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, that is what tipping over a cup of juice with a lot of craving and aversion looks like. Obviously, it was a little bit dramatized, so you get a good flavor of it. Now, I'm going to tip it over again, but this time I'm going to do it without any craving or aversion. And again, I will narrate my thoughts and act out my emotions. So here's our friendly cup. Oh, and I just spent a whole minute like cleaning up this table. Ta-da! That's how simple and effortless it can be to do something without clinging and aversion. I just saw the juice tipped over, righted it, cleaned it up, rinsed the rag out with water, wiped it down, got rid of the rest of the stickiness. Easy peasy. Now I ask you, if you were to tip over the cup of orange juice, which way would you rather respond to it? Which way seems more kind, loving, helpful, and skillful? And of course, don't just apply this to tipping over orange juice, apply this to everything in your life. Because I'm going to argue if something is skillful on a small scale, then it's even more important that we follow this skillful behavior at larger scales with greater stakes involved, which is generally the opposite of how the egoic mind thinks. The mind thinks, oh, the bigger the stakes, the more I'm going to flip out. But just a little seed to plant there. Now, one could think of clinging and aversion as extraneous, pointless, and unhelpful mental and emotional drama. Okay, so if you want to bring the drama, maybe join a theater troupe. But if you want to enjoy your life, maybe drop it. Now, this past week, you were invited to be mindful of the motivations behind your actions. What did it feel like to be motivated by love and service? And what did it feel like when you caught yourself at times being motivated by greed and hatred? Clinging and aversion use greed and hatred to motivate us. In my experience, and as we saw in my Oscar-winning performance, these motivations cut us off from our inner love and wisdom. They distort our perceptions, needlessly complicate the situation, generate afflictive emotions, and cause us to behave unskillfully. In contrast, when we allow the present moment to be as it is, we can peacefully and skillfully respond from love with clarity of mind, creativity, and ease. So you may be wondering, if someone insults me, you're saying I should just accept it? Just allow it? To be clear, when we speak of allowing, accepting, or surrendering to the now, we are not describing our behavior. Instead, we are describing a mental and emotional attitude towards the now. This non-judgmental attitude keeps us connected to our inner love and wisdom, so we can respond skillfully, helpfully, and lovingly to whatever unfolds. How you behaviorally respond to an insult or anything is really only limited to what is kind, helpful, and skillful in that situation. So just want to be real clear on that. This is about our attitude towards the now, not about how we behave. Moving on. Since craving and aversion often arise emotionally, we devote this talk to understanding our emotions and figuring out how to relate to them skillfully. Now remember, we consider love to be a state of being because it is always with us and it's foundational to our nature. That means that when I talk about emotions, I do not include the feelings we get from the 4 kinds of love, which include kindness, compassion, peace, and joy. When I talk about emotions, I speak of all the other afflictive emotions like pride, greed, fear, anger, jealousy, and so on. These emotions afflict us because they overshadow, obscure, and cut us off from our inner love. Understood? Okay, good. So we start by investigating our emotions. Let's take a mindful pause. And if you feel safe enough to do so, please close your eyes. Gently anchor your awareness on all of the pleasant feelings that you feel. And invite the body to relax and soften. I'm going to ask you some questions to investigate your emotions. Gently see if you can find the answers within you. Be open to answers that come in ways other than thoughts. Compassionately answer yes or no. Have you ever experienced the emotion of anger, shame, embarrassment, greed, fear, jealousy, pride, sadness, hopelessness? Did these emotions last forever? How do you know you experienced these emotions? Experientially, what surrounded the emotions? What did they arise from? Where did they return to? Do you have full control over your emotions? If you command your emotions to only feel pleasant, loving feelings, will they obey? By will alone, can you stop unpleasant feelings from arising? If you don't control your feelings, what does? Does your biology dictate how and what you feel? Do you have control over your biology? Since biology determines how and what you feel, is it more skillful to identify with the emotions that arise, or to see them as nature unfolding lawfully according to biological and natural laws? Are you the emotions that arise, or are you the awareness that knows the emotions? Experientially, is the essential nature of the body the constantly changing emotions that come and go, or the ever-present, spacious emptiness that holds these emotions and allows them to be? How much do emotions weigh? Are emotions material or immaterial? If you were in a boxing ring with an emotion, could it hit you, bite you, or kick you? How do you win a fight with an emotion? Do emotions have inherent power on their own, or do they rely on your cooperation for their power? Do emotions lose their power over you when you allow them to be, view them as impersonal nature lawfully unfolding, and stand in your own power? In this relationship between you and your emotions, do you prefer to have your emotions master you, or would you prefer to be the master of your emotions? So what did you discover about your emotions? It's important that you see it directly for yourself through these investigations. Of course, we often have to do these investigations many, many times to see them more and more clearly. So I'm going to summarize what I've found through my investigations, and you can just kindly notice if we saw the same things. I noticed that emotions arise as felt sensations. These sensations are impermanent and do not last forever. Experientially, spacious emptiness surrounded my emotions. They arise from that emptiness and return to it. Spaciousness is the essential nature of the body. I don't have full control over my emotions. I can influence them, but how and what they feel like is determined by biological and natural laws, not my will, desires, and choices. Thus, it is best to think of emotions as impersonal nature, lawfully unfolding, rather than something I take personally, identify with, or mistakenly think I have full control over. I found that emotions weigh nothing and are immaterial. In a boxing ring, they can't punch, kick, or bite me. The way I win a fight with emotions is to leave them be, not identify with them, and stand in my own power, knowing that emotions are temporary and in no way affect my essential nature as aware, spacious emptiness. I also found that emotions need my cooperation to have power. Their power comes when I resist them, identify with them, invest them with importance, or allow them to control the body. I prefer that I master my emotions rather than having them master me. And this will require me to mindfully investigate emotions, learn the laws that influence them, and then work cooperatively with those laws. Now, again, please don't worry if you didn't see all of this during our investigation. We often need to do these investigations many times before we see certain things clearly. So just be patient, be kind with yourself, and keep plugging away. That said, wisdom teachers and their students who have done the investigative work tell us that emotions have the same three characteristics as falsehoods. Emotions are impermanent. Emotions are conditioned and impersonal. When we identify with emotions, we suffer. With falsehoods, we identify with them when we believe them. With emotions, we identify with them when we take them personally, mistake them to be who we are, and give them our power, allowing them to act through our own body. Now you may be wondering, what do you mean when you say emotions are conditioned and impersonal? this is a real challenging one for everybody. And what I mean by it is see emotions as impersonal nature lawfully unfolding. Don't mistake them to be personal or yourself. Certainly, we are not our emotions, which we can see are impermanent. We are here before they come, while they are present, and after they leave. If we were our emotions, then when they vanished, so would we. Let me give you an example, though. We call something conditioned because it arises when appropriate conditions exist, and it goes away when those conditions change. For example, a river is conditioned because it arises as long as it is continuously supplied water through the rain and snow melt of various watersheds. If those sources of water go away, the river would go away too. That's how conditioning works. The river is also impersonal because natural laws determine how rivers form, flow, and behave. For example, the law of gravity means that all rivers flow downhill. Knowing all this, we would never identify with a river, mistaking it to be who we are, and start to get upset if it doesn't obey our orders, like if we told it to flow upstream or something. In the same way, our emotions are conditioned and impersonal. Like a river, our emotions constantly change and flow according to natural laws. If we knew the laws that affected our emotions, we could master them. The laws may not be clear to us right now, but through investigation, they will become more and more so. And because our emotions are conditioned and impersonal, we don't want to mistake our emotions to be who we are. Like a river, emotions are just natural phenomena that we can know. And good slogans to remind us of this conditioned, impersonal nature of emotions includes, "This is lawful," "I am not my emotions," "I am not the river," "Don't be the river." So those are just a few, and you can choose which one works best for you. Now, a follow-up question is, but if we're not our emotions, what are we? During your meditations and mindful investigations, haven't you experienced the still, spacious silence that is the essential nature of the mind and body? Isn't that what surrounds your feelings and thoughts? Isn't that where feelings and thoughts arise from and return to? Have you noticed that whatever feelings and thoughts arise, that emptiness and the awareness that comes from it are not disturbed by it? Let me restate that. Have you noticed that emotions and thoughts do not disturb that spacious emptiness that they come out of? It's always there. It can't be harmed. I'm asking you to just trust these experiences that you're having with this spaciousness. Your essential nature is aware emptiness. Keep investigating it. When you view your essential nature to be this spacious awareness rather than the thoughts or emotions, this is going to contribute to your well-being and the well-being of others. And you can test that. You know, if you start thinking of yourself not as the content of the thoughts and emotions, but as the container, this boundless, spacious container that holds the thoughts and emotions, how does that impact your well-being? We'll be exploring this a lot more in other classes, so if it's not landing right now, don't worry. But let's get back to how do we relate skillfully to our emotions. Knowing that emotions, like thoughts, are impermanent, conditioned, and impersonal, and cause us to suffer when we identify with them, it may not surprise you that skillfully relating to emotions is very, very similar to how we skillfully relate to our thoughts. To relate skillfully to our emotions, we relate to them mindfully, which means we don't resist them with judgment and aversion. What you resist persists. Instead, we compassionately allow them to be. Secondly, we don't identify with them, which gives them our power. Instead, we see them as impersonal nature lawfully unfolding. Thirdly, we don't let them call the shots, which also gives us our power. Instead, we rest in the power of our unchanging, spacious nature and keep our actions skillful, regardless of what we feel. Finally, we mindfully investigate them. We learn the laws that govern them, and we use our understanding of these laws to benevolently master them. By now, you have hopefully experienced how a mindful relationship to false thoughts, such as judgment, fixed views, futuring, and pasting, can actually deactivate them. When a falsehood is deactivated, you see the lie in it, and the emotional turmoil caused by these thoughts just kind of seem to melt away. And deactivating a thought is not an all or nothing proposition. Your degree of mindfulness matters. The more mindful you are, the more you deactivate it. In the same way, the stronger your mindfulness with emotions, the more you deactivate them. When emotions are deactivated, it limits their ability to generate more falsehoods, and you no longer feel the full force of the emotion. It's as if you have some distance between the emotion and you, or like the emotion is held in this compassionate emptiness, and then you're able to lovingly and objectively investigate it. Now, you may be thinking, there are a lot of emotions I don't want to feel. Why should I allow them? Granted, it's a common strategy that when unpleasant emotions arise, we fight them. We judge them, curse them, hate them, repress them, and want them to go away. Now, based on your experience, does judging and disliking your emotions help or hurt the situation? And have you ever looked to see? In my experience, judging, which is a type of aversion and is thus a falsehood that is rooted in hatred, and when we judge our emotions, we actually worsen the situation because we're just adding more falsehoods into a already challenging situation. And one of the laws of emotion is what we resist persists. So as you go about your week, see if this is true for you. Another law of emotion is believed falsehoods create emotions. Now, hopefully in these past few weeks, we've experienced this. We notice when we believe a frightening mental story about the future, and then we feel those emotions of fear and anxiety. So we know that our thoughts create, our untrue thoughts create emotions. Now, another law of emotion is that emotions that we identify with typically generate the arising of more false thoughts. And with this, I'm going to turn to I'm going to do a share screen and do some visuals for you. If all works well. So can you see this screen okay? Can everybody see this screen? Okay, so
Yeah.
great. So again, notice if this, whoops. Okay. There's so many things on my screen, it's hard to like navigate here. So another law of emotion is emotions that we identify with typically generate the arising of more false thoughts. So here we see an emotion that started, and here we see it generating another falsehood. To make this clearer, let's look up an example of this in action. So let's say, for example, you're at work and you've got a bunch of deadlines that day and you're starting to feel tiredness in the body. And immediately this emotion of aversion arises. It's sort of just a feeling of dislike at the tiredness. And this may generate an aversion of more like a falsehood of a thought basically along the lines of, oh, I can't be tired now, I have too much to do. And this has got aversion in it. This has got false futuring in it. And this falsehood generates fear, another form of aversion in the body. This fear generates another futuring thoughts. I can't miss this deadline. The boss is going to yell at me. This ratchets up the fear even more and generates even more falsehoods, like I'm going to get fired, I hate my life, and on and on and on. And this is what we mean when we say what we resist persists. So if this was to happen, how we would view it is like this. A little emotion leads to more falsehoods, to more emotion, to more falsehoods, to more emotions. And the bigger these arrows get means the louder these emotions are getting, the louder these thoughts are getting, the more all-consuming they are, until, as in this picture, they fill up the whole screen. Now, this is an example of what we can call a suffering spiral. It's a mental storm where falsehoods and afflictive emotions feed each other to make our emotions and falsehoods larger and more intense. And these often lead us to be very unskillful in our behavior. Now, this graphic is very clear and it's simplified to make it understandable. But if we go on to the next slide, this next slide has a visual that's more of the flavor of a mental storm as we experience it. It may look more like this. It's in your face. It's chaotic. It's a thorny tangle. It's like, okay, just thoughts and feelings everywhere. And how do we even begin to deal with that? So a common strategy to make unpleasant emotions go away is to gratify our senses. So if we feel an unpleasant feeling, we often will go and eat unhealthy food, drink alcohol, go shopping, gamble, watch television, take drugs, use porn, and so on. Many, many addictions start and deepen because we did not want to feel our feelings. And knowing that aversion makes the situation worse, we allow the emotions to be. We don't resist their coming. Knowing that emotions are impermanent, we let them come, we let them be, and we let them go. And good slogans to remind us to allow our emotions to be is, this belongs, this is lawful, let it be, this too will pass, may I use this for my awakening. And if you believe in a higher power, another good option is, thy will be done, with thy being your higher power. So adopt whatever slogan most speaks to you that's going to help you just feel more welcoming and embracing of these emotions as they arise. So we also talked about one of the skillful ways of dealing with emotions means not letting them call the shots, not letting them take you over. So what does that mean? And this is just basically committing that out of love for all life, we only want to behave skillfully in ways that benefit others and ourselves. Often strong emotions that we identify with lead us to behave unskillfully in ways that hurt ourselves and others. And we need to work skillfully with whatever energy emotions bring up. For example, Peace Pilgrim says, tremendous energy comes with anger. Do not suppress it. That would hurt you inside. Do not express it. This would not only hurt you inside, it would cause ripples in your surroundings. What you do is transform it. You somehow use that tremendous energy constructively on a task that needs to be done or in a beneficial form of exercise. She then goes on to tell stories of people who use their anger energy to clean the windows, mow the lawn, vacuum the house, play the piano, run, walk, etc. The key is to direct anger energy towards something physical and constructive, not into things that are destructive and unskillful. We also want to be skillful with sadness and grief. Now, this patriarchal culture we live in has harshly judged crying and displays of grief, meaning many, many people repress these emotions. This is unwise. Crying, shaking, convulsing, keening, and wailing is part of the body's natural wisdom to help release trauma from the body. If these things arise, then we want to express them. Let them come, let them be, and let them go. Such activities may arise during meditation, and if they do, we welcome them. So never worry if that comes up during a meditation. When other emotions arise, compassionately remember that they are immaterial and impermanent. Then kindly remember that your basic nature is spacious awareness, and that the emotions you're feeling are not affecting your basic nature in any way. Feel the truth of this by focusing on that spacious emptiness that surrounds the emotions. Then stand in your strength and stability and remain loving and skillful. I'm going to go back to the slideshow for this next part. So how do I use Baladi to skillfully relate to my emotions like aversion? So this is, Baladi is, the technique we're trying to teach you. It stands for breathe, appreciate, label, allow, disidentify, investigate. And the sooner you spot a mental storm on the horizon and start Baladi, the better. When you become aware of one of your 3 falsehood alarms ringing, then you want to start Baladi. You take a mindful pause, and this helps you become mindful. And so what starts off as this, how you're experiencing the mental storm, becomes this. You breathing, you're taking a mindful pause, and now suddenly you become the awareness, and the storm is over here. And it's like there's a space and there's a little bit of a distance between you and what's going on. That's how mindfulness will feel. And then you give thanks for the mindfulness. That's the appreciation. So you say, oh, thank you, mindfulness. Thank you for giving me the wisdom to catch this storm. And that introduces love into the situation. So you have some loving appreciation, then you start to label it. And when you label these things, you start from the big stuff and go down. So right now it's a tangled mess. You say, oh, mental storm has arisen. And then you also want to label what feeling tone that mental storm is. So is it pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant? And you'll say, oh, mental storm is unpleasant. And then you want to ask about, can you allow this? Can I be okay with this mental storm? And all of these things are just adding love to the situation. And as you add that love, things start to become more clear. And then you can start to piece out, oh, hey, yeah, this is, this is some aversion I'm feeling to the mental storm. And that aversion is unpleasant. Oh, and here's some judgment to the aversion that I'm feeling. I'm judging myself for feeling aversion because I know that's not skillful. And that judgment is unpleasant. Can I allow the judgment to be? Oh no, there's frustration at the judgment for being there. And that frustration is unpleasant. Can I allow frustration to be? Oh yeah, I can. And allowing frustration is pleasant. And so this is how we start to label things. And when you label it, what you're doing is you're naming it to tame it. When you can name it, you start to become the subject instead of the object. The object is what you're labeling, and you are the one who is experiencing it and naming it. And the more we do this, the more we add love to this situation. And sometimes that love is going to, as in this case, sort of block and start to dissolve different layers of this suffering spiral or this mental storm. So this is sort of an overview of how Baladi works. And then of course you can do the disidentification practice, the identification practice, and you need to do those if, like, when you start to do the mindful pause and stuff, you're still too caught up in it. If it's still feeling full force, on you, then you probably need to do the disidentification practice. So let's turn to that now. Like, how do you disidentify from these emotions? And we disidentify from emotions through self-inquiry and remembering these emotions are not who I am. I am the formless awareness. But to convince ourselves of this truth, we ask self-inquiry questions and use our direct experience to answer them. For example, who is it that sees the emotion? Can emotions be my essential nature if they come and go? Am I the object that's seen or the subject that sees it? What is here before the emotion arises, while it is here, and after the emotion leaves? Does the emotion bother, change, or affect my awareness in any way? Is the formless emptiness of the body bothered, changed, or affected by the emotions in any way? What is my essential nature? Now, granted, we have spent decades believing that we are the body and our emotions, so this belief is quite tenacious and might take time to overcome. Just as a reference, Peace Pilgrim said it took her 15 years of dedicated purification practices before she awoke to the truth, and then never saw things differently ever again. Good slogans to help us disidentify from our emotions include, I am not my emotions. I am the knower, not the known. I am the formless awareness, not the form. I am the subject, not the object. Use whichever slogan most resonates with you. Now this week, I encourage you to be skillful with your emotions. When falsehood alarms go off, use the Bilotti technique to help you to be mindful of emotions, relate to them skillfully, and deactivate them. When mindful of emotions, you, again, 1, don't resist them. What you resist persists. Let it be. 2, don't identify with emotions. I am not my emotions. I am the knower, not the known. I am the subject, not the object. 3, don't let emotions call the shots. They are immaterial and impermanent, and they do not affect your basic nature in any way. Stand in your strength and stability and remain skillful and loving. And then 4, use Bilotti to help you mindfully bring a lot of love and compassion to your mental storms and to start to investigate and disidentify with your emotions. This is a practice that you will get better at over time. Be patient and kind with yourself. You may not have much success right away, so just keep trying. And when you do deactivate an emotion, pay attention to how you did it and what it feels like. All right, so what are we doing here? Did my clinging and aversion magically make the juice so it never tipped over? No. The greed and hatred which motivates clinging and aversion promise us a utopia in the future in exchange for having us feel miserable now. Given that the now is all there is, that's a really bad deal. Thankfully, the love that motivates our kind and non-judgmental acceptance of the now delivers us peace and skillfulness and promises us better days ahead. Experiment and see for yourself if that is true in your life. And that is why, when relating skillfully to our emotions, we allow them to be. To resist them is to add the falsehood of aversion into the mental storm and make it worse. To relate skillfully to our emotions, we need to allow them, see them as impersonal nature lawfully unfolding, remain in our power, and lovingly investigate them. I've shared with you what I can to help you relate skillfully to your emotions. Now it is up to you. Do you want to be the master of your emotions or their servant? And what are you going to do to make that happen? Let's all take a mindful pause. All right, check out the Mindfulness Fundamentals page for your mindfulness mission this week, along with the new meditations and intention setting. And as always, I love your evaluations. So if you're able to complete one, I'll just dump them into the chat. And if you have any questions about anything, you can leave them on there, or you can stick around after class and ask me then. And now let's do our closing meditation. Our time together, learning how to come home to love, truth, and joyful service, brings us many benefits. We freely share these benefits energetically with all beings and all life, that they too may benefit from our meditation practice. May all people, all beings, and all life be free from suffering, safe and protected, healthy and strong, peaceful and happy. Excellent. Next week, we continue our exploration of clinging and aversion, focusing on our judgment of others. We may also explore the power of love to help us forgive others as a kindness to ourselves, so the bitterness doesn't make us miserable and ill. We can still set healthy boundaries for those who are still causing harm, but at the same time, we wish them well and harbor no grudges. So we'll talk more about that next week. Thank you all for all of the effort that you're putting into your spiritual growth. Please keep doing your practices with kindness, patience, love, and persistence, and may you enjoy the sweet and tasty fruits of all of that practice. Be well. I love you, and I wish you peace, love, wisdom, and joy.
Thanks, Freeman. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you so much, Freeman.
Thank you. Wish you the same.
My pleasure. Good to see you all. Take care.
Bye, all.
Bye-bye.